So in the past couple days, Mob Entertainment has been giving us a lot of info about the Chapter 4 monster, like how in their Discord server, some of the devs were hinting at things that could appear in Chapter 4, including who the monster might be. So instead of wasting time, let's start now. Who is the Chapter 4 monster actually going to be? In my last video, I made a theory that Huggy Wuggy is going to return as the Chapter 4 monster, and the reason I said this is because Mob Entertainment has been releasing these Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3 recap videos, when if you find all the hidden secret codes in them, it makes a sentence, the end of that sentence saying, "We have already met." And it also says on felted feet, and if we look on Huggy Wuggy's hands and feet, there's felt on them, and it says that they're not afraid of death. And the reason this actually says this is because in Chapter 1, Huggy Wuggy fell from a really high height, and it seems like he survived. But the first brand new thing that I'm going to talk about in this video is this photo that Mob Entertainment released on Twitter. And now at first this may just look like a normal photo, and it was a drawing made by one of the devs. And in this photo there's actually every single character that appeared in Chapter 2, like Mommy Longlegs, PJ Pugapillar, Kissy Missy, the multicolored Huggy Wuggies. But then if you actually go to the comments of this tweet, someone that's also on the Mob team said interesting, hinting that there may be something in this photo that we don't see. And when Mob Entertainment themselves released this photo, they said, "Such adorable playmates, nothing unusual about them at all." So this is them strongly hinting that there is something in this photo and we need to find it. But something else they actually gave when they released this photo is a color code. They said red, blue, and yellow. Now at first I didn't really know what this meant, until you realize those are the exact colors that Huggy Wuggy has on his body. Red for the lips, blue for the fur, and then yellow for the hands and feet. So this is another teaser showing that Huggy Wuggy might return in Chapter 4. And actually another drawing they released like this was one of Huggy Wuggy sitting on the beach. And the exact same color code was on this umbrella, red, blue, and yellow. So it seems like they're strongly hinting that Huggy Wuggy is going to return for Chapter 4. But that's actually not all the proof I have. Only a couple days ago, Chapters 2 and 3 both came to consoles after years of waiting. And YouTuber Sheep Rampage was live streaming playing them both, when all of a sudden, somebody by the name of Zach Bellinger came into his chat. Now, I'm not going to talk about this for long because this might not be the real Zach Bellinger, but I'm going to talk about it here just in case it is. And at first he was just saying hello and talking about the games, but then all of a sudden he put this random bunch of letters, when if you actually rearrange them, it says Huggy. And that was actually the last message he left, leaving the fans to figure out what it meant. So I think this is actually another teaser for Huggy Wuggy returning in Chapter 4. And in my last video, I said I don't know if he's going to be the main villain or not, because I always thought that the main villains for Poppy Playtime games are going to be someone completely new, because one of the most fun parts about a new Poppy Playtime game is figuring out who the monster is going to be. And I really didn't think they were just going to use Huggy Wuggy again. And while we did see him in Chapter 3, that was only a dream sequence and it wasn't even real. And something else Zach Bellinger said actually a while ago was that Poppy Playtime is a lot like Star Wars. Now, I've never seen Star Wars, but I did some research on it. And one of the things that Zach said is that Huggy Wuggy is basically Darth Vader and the prototype is basically Palpatine. And I might not be 100% right on this because, like I said, I've never seen Star Wars. But from the research I did, it seems like Palpatine actually saved Darth Vader's life. And now Darth Vader seems to be some sort of slave to Palpatine. And if that's how it is for Poppy Playtime, what if after Huggy fell from that giant height, the prototype rebuilt him, put him back together, and maybe now in Chapter 4 he's going to be some type of zombie Huggy Wuggy. And we actually did see something like this in Project Playtime, a green zombified version of Huggy Wuggy. And maybe all along this was actually a teaser for Chapter 4. But now here's where the main theory of the video comes in. All of these hints that Mob Entertainment have been giving us about Huggy Wuggy returning in Chapter 4 seem very legit and believable, but something else that the CEO of Mob Games, Zach Bellinger, confirmed was that there was going to be multiple villains in Chapter 4, not just one, and that's usually how it is for most Poppy Playtime games, besides Chapter 1 of course. But usually in the teasers and trailers we'll find out the main villain, but throughout us actually playing the game, we'll run into the side villain. In Chapter 2 and 3, it was Miss Delight and PJ Pugapillar, so who is that side villain going to be for Chapter 4? Well, I know this might sound crazy, but Mommy Longlegs. Now, why am I saying this? Before all of these hints and teasers for Huggy Wuggy came out, one of the main theories was that for Chapter 4, one of the main villains was going to be some type of yarn monster. Because Mob Entertainment on their website actually copyrighted the name Yarnaby, so people thought that the name for the Chapter 4 villain was leaked early. And there is actually a lot of teasers they've been showing that hint to yarn and felt and different types of fabric. And in Zach Bellinger's interview with Sheep Rampage, one of the things he emphasized about the Chapter 4 monster was the material of it. So everyone thought that it was either going to be made out of yarn or some type of fabric. Well, here's why I think it's going to be Mommy Longlegs. And in my first part of the theory, I said that Mommy Longlegs was going to be the side villain. Well, not Mommy Longlegs specifically, but a different version of her. And that version being a yarn version of Mommy Longlegs. Because if you guys can remember back to when I said that the zombie Huggy Wuggy was already a thing in Project Playtime, something else that was also in Project Playtime is a yarn Mommy Longlegs. So here's my main theory for Chapter 4. What if in Chapter 4, all of the old villains that we fought in previous games come back to fight us? And then Chapter 5 will have to face up against the prototype, that being the final game in the series. And it will make sense that they would do a look back on all the monsters we fought if they're doing the final game soon. And I know this theory is kind of a stretch, but this could be the reason why the prototype is collecting all the bodies of the monsters we've killed, so he can send them all at us at once. But the only thing we don't know is what version of Catnap we're getting. It could just be the one we saw in Chapter 3 because he wasn't completely destroyed like Mommy Longlegs. He was badly burnt and then the prototype took him away. And right now as we speak, the prototype could be fixing him for Chapter 4. Now this next part I'm not going to talk about for long, but I do want to go over it just in case it is important down the line for the Chapter 4 ARG. But what I want to talk about is a weird pattern in the Poppy Playtime Discord server. So here's what I mean. One day, randomly, the dev that works at Mob Games, Toby, out of nowhere, put the Mob Entertainment TikTok account link in the server. And he didn't put any context around this at all, and that's actually not the only time he's done this. And then a different dev, Amanda, did the same thing. But she actually gave a little bit of context. She said just putting this here for no reason. So either they really want us to follow their TikTok, which they haven't posted on in months, or something ARG related is going to happen on their TikTok very soon. Now the last thing to happen on their TikTok was this video, and it was a Playtime Co training video just explaining the rules of the factory, and they would upload it in different parts on TikTok, and it really ended up going nowhere. But for whatever reason, they're really telling us to go onto their TikTok and follow it, most likely because something is going to happen on their TikTok page within the next couple days or weeks. And speaking of that, the dev Tyler said there is an announcement coming soon, but not today. Because in the Poppy Playtime Discord server, a bunch of people were talking about an announcement, and there was no announcement that day, so Tyler was confused. So he said there is one coming soon, but not today. And yes, this post actually was made before the Chapter 3 recap video came out, so that could be what he was talking about. But that's not really an announcement. That's just a video they uploaded on YouTube. And he said this after Chapter 2 and 3 were already announced to come to consoles, so it can't be that either. So it must be something completely new we haven't heard of yet. Maybe a new Project Playtime phase, who knows. And speaking of this future announcement, I want to go over something that Mob Entertainment said on Twitter when Poppy Playtime Chapters 2 and 3 both came to consoles. Here's exactly what they said. No more waiting. Poppy Playtime Chapters 2 and 3 are available now on Xbox One and Series S/X and PlayStation 4 and 5. Time to catch up just before ... Just before what? Well, here they could be talking about a lot of things. They could be talking about just Chapter 4 in general, because at this point, it seems like we're going to get Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 on consoles and PC on the same day, so console players won't have to wait. Or they could be talking about what comes out on September 30th, which I think is going to be some type of teaser trailer. But honestly, I think it's just hype for Chapter 4 in general, not anything really specific. But yeah, I really hope you guys did enjoy me giving my theories on who I think the Chapter 4 monster is going to be. And if you don't believe me in saying that it's going to be Huggy Wuggy, leave a comment down below on who you think the Chapter 4 monster is going to be. And then when Chapter 4 comes out, we can come back and see if you guys were right. But yeah, if you guys did end up enjoying this video, please leave a like and subscribe to help support the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.